Hi there. I am Farnoosh, and it is such a privilege to be here with you today to share a message that not only am I passionate about, but one that has transformed the way that I work, the way that I build relationships, and the way that I create success for myself and those who are in my ecosystem. And the topic that we have chosen for this presentation is serving with an entrepreneurial mindset. So I come from a very technical background. I studied electrical engineering. I had a successful corporate career. And in 2011, I decided that I wanted to start my own business. And I also wanted to do something drastically different from everything I had done in the past 12 years. And I was able to develop new skills, teach myself new tools, new systems, set myself up as a business owner. One area in my business that I had immense challenge was selling my professional services, my coaching, consulting, speaking, training, and being able to go through that process in a way that felt authentic, that allowed me to charge appropriate prices and have relative success. This was such a struggle. I tried every selling tactic known, and even though I had moderate success, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel right. And this was so deep rooted that I decided that there had to be another way for me to show up in the world, do my work, and be able to still be in business. And that is how the serving mindset was born. So I will share with you the framework, the methodologies that have allowed me to stop selling, if you will, and take on a different mindset and approach to not only staying in business, but also growing my business and feeling great about the people I work with, the clients that I create, and also the impact that I have in the world, which is what all of us want to do. You want to have an impact, you want to make a difference, you want to make your contribution, and you want to do it in such a way that it feels true to who you are and your values. So with that in mind, let's dive in and let's learn about the serving mindset. Let's define selling before we move further. No doubt all of us have an idea in mind when we hear the word selling. Here is how I define selling. And this is the very challenge that I had that I shared with you earlier, which made me move on from the concept of selling altogether. So how do I define selling? Well, I define selling as the condition where you are 100% driven by self-interest. So you have a product or a service you want to sell, and you are driven to selling it by self-interest, by your own goals, your own criteria, and that is the key and often the only motivator. When that is the case, you are selling. Another way I define selling is that closing the transaction, the deal, so to speak, is your top priority. It is the driver for your actions, for your mindset, and it might make you compromise other things in the process. Also, winning is more important than building trust and relationships. And winning is defined as closing. Now, it doesn't mean trust and relationships aren't important to those of us who go out there and sell. It just means that winning at the end of the day is more important than building deep trust or nurturing relationships. And also, I believe that if you are selling, you feel comfortable with making others feel sold to. So what do I mean by that? You know how when you are engaged with someone in a conversation and you feel their agenda. You feel that they are getting to something. They want to eventually sell you something. You're not talking about it, but you can feel it. That is the feeling of being sold to. My belief is that nobody in the world wants to be sold to, not even the most eager buyer. Yes, they want to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. When you are selling, you need to be okay with making others feel sold to. And last but not least, you will pitch even if it's not a good fit, even if it's not the best solution or the engagement isn't the best dynamics between the people involved or whatever other criteria is in the way. If you get a chance to pitch and make an offer, you will do it even if it's not in the highest interest of the prospective client. And that is the selling mode. And that is what I want to encourage you to examine for yourself. And if you have as much of a challenge with this as I did, I would like to share with you another way that works not as well, but much, much better than selling. And it also allows you to still feel good about the process. So first, let me ask you this. How motivated are you by selling alone? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low and 10 is pretty high, where would you put yourself on that scale? Because you need to be motivated to be in business, to do your work, to have your impact in the world, right? How motivated are you by just being driven to sell? I can tell you that for me, it was a 0. And that's why I wanted to develop another perspective and another approach. Something to reflect on. Now, what is this new paradigm, a new perspective, a new mindset? I call it the serving mindset. And here are some criteria that embody the serving mindset. The first one, your mindset, how you see opportunities for you in your business, is one of abundance versus scarcity. In other words, you don't feel there is a lack of opportunities, and therefore you are not driven to use any kind of scarcity tactic to close the deal, because you know that if this is not the right opportunity for you, there are many more out there. The scarcity mindset comes from a place of lack. You feel there just isn't enough out there. You might feel there just isn't enough opportunities, clients, the economy isn't right, the climate isn't right, and so you are driven by lack. In the serving mindset, you are driven by abundance. So that's the first perspective shift that we need to have. The second one is you are confident in your ability to make a difference, to help others, to do your important work, versus the desperation, even an ounce of desperation, to bring business in and close and sell and keep going. The confidence over desperation does not mean that you are not interested in creating business. It just means that you are confident that you are able to do your job and you're able to help the right people. The next one is you always prioritize the absolute right and best fit between you and the right client over a quick sale, because you know that the wrong clients will make you miserable. It is crucial that you and the client are the right fit and that you like and trust each other so that you can create great results together. So you prioritize that when you are in the serving mindset. Also, longevity of your business, of your company, always comes before instant results. You are looking out, you have a vision, you want to have an impact, not for today and tomorrow alone, but for years down the road. Also, you are in an empowered state when you are in a prospecting conversation, right? The conversations where you are talking to a prospective client or customer versus the state of dread, which, if you have any aversion to sales like I did, you know what I'm talking about. And that is not a great place from which to serve others. A state of dread is all about ourselves because we don't like the process and we're self-conscious. And there is none of that when you adopt the serving mindset. You come from a place of empowerment and you want to transfer that to your prospective and hopefully future clients. And when you show up that way, when you show up with all these criteria that I talked about, you create a different dynamic altogether in that relationship and in the results that you create together. Now, I would like to share with you a phrase, a mantra that can help you not only adopt the serving mindset, but also begin to shift habits that may have formed from years, months, or any period of selling. So when you find yourself thinking about a client or you find yourself in a conversation, you want to remind yourself, I am not selling, I am serving. That alone can help you come back and focus on the prospect instead of focusing on your agenda. This alone can help you shift your energy, shift the way you ask questions and navigate the conversation, because here's what I believe. We all know how to serve naturally. It is not something we need to learn. It is something we need to remember. We need to learn how to sell because that is so foreign, but serving is your natural state. So this phrase, I'm not selling, I am serving, is a great one to remind yourself. And first of all, to believe it, and then to put it into practice whenever you find yourself in conversations that may lead to a business transaction or a business relationship. I am not selling, I am serving. Now, let's get a little more practical. My goal is to give you a framework that you can actually practice in real life situations. So these are 5 key principles of the serving mindset. Number 1, the approach is you drop your sales agenda at the door or before the Zoom call, whatever the case may be. Before you step into a conversation or an interaction with a prospect, you have no agenda. You still have goals, but you don't have that agenda that makes others feel sold to. You also drop your assumptions. You know how people reach out to you on platforms, maybe on LinkedIn, and they assume you want what they have, and they come from that place in their dialogue. When is a good time to talk? Why would they ask me that? They're assuming. We do not make assumptions when we are serving because that is rude and disrespectful and it's unattractive. We drop our assumptions and we drop our sales agenda for the serving mindset. Number 2, your attitude. I'm going to give you 3 letters that start, 3 words that start with C that you want to embody: curiosity, compassion, and confidence. And I will demonstrate exactly what this is in a few minutes. And then the permission. Now, this is probably the single great tool I can give you. Anytime in a conversation, before you are going to put an offer on the table, move from one segment to another, make sure your prospect is right there with you. Show respect by simply asking permission first. You're always going to hear a yes, sometimes a no, but you're making sure that you are not assuming the permission. And then the no. And this is the part where a lot of people don't even want to have the conversation. And this is a place where you can set yourself apart by exploring the uncomfortable objections, the no, the concerns your prospect has on their mind. And I will give you examples of how to do that. But when we are serving, we explore the no because we know this is important to our prospects and we are responsible for addressing those concerns. And last but not least, the agreement. Every time you leave a conversation or a meeting, you need to mutually agree on the next steps. What's going to happen in that relationship? On what terms? Who is going to do what? Right then, let's dive a little bit deeper into our principles now. The first one, dropping your sales agenda and dropping your assumptions. So we've talked a little bit about the assumptions. The sales agenda is that feeling of being sold to. It is perhaps another way to put it, the pretext of selling, but you are selling underneath. You're still driven by that goal. And because we know how that feels, that is what we want to avoid. Here is the reassurance I want to give you. Your sales agenda won't help you. If you are exploring and serving powerfully in that relationship, you will arrive at a successful business relationship. Your agenda will simply serve to pull you off track and pull you away from where you need to be, which is 100% present with your prospect, to listen, to learn about them, and to see whether you are the right fit for each other. So your agenda doesn't serve you, but it can hurt you. Drop it. Also, don't make any assumptions. Ask before you proceed. Make sure what you are assuming is indeed the fact. Principle 2, lead with the 3 C's. So I want you to adopt an attitude of curiosity. Curiosity says, I wonder if, and then you can fill in the blanks. I wonder if this is the right client for me. I wonder if I'm really able to help them with their challenges. I wonder what made them reach out to me. I wonder, and you take this curiosity into the conversation. I wonder how I can be of service to you. I wonder if you would go forward and share more about that concern with me. You are coming from a place of curiosity, which is very appreciated. The second one is confidence. It is very unflattering when you are sitting down with a prospect and you are finding yourself perhaps apologizing for your lack of skills, lack of experience. If that is the case, you may not need to be having that conversation. But the opposite of that is confidence. You are 100% confident that you have the ability to help the right client, and you are simply exploring in this interaction to see if this might be the case. Having confidence in yourself, even if you have had 1 year of experience, is crucial, because that is what people want to know. At the end of the day, they want to know, can you help me? So confidence is the second one. And then the third C is compassion. You need to have empathy for the challenges, the concerns, the problems, the difficulties that your prospect is bringing to you. This doesn't mean you allow hours of conversation. No, it needs to be within the framework of what you agreed to, but it means that when you share, they have a challenge, that they're going through a rough time, you feel and demonstrate empathy. You know, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. Let's see whether we can help you with that challenge. Let's explore further. The 3 C's, these are the 3 C's that help you show up with the serving mindset: curiosity, confidence, and compassion. Asking permission before every offer. So remember, we're not making any assumptions, which means we have to make sure what we are about to say and do is indeed something the prospect will welcome. So you might say, and I have exact phrases for you, and let me demonstrate how you might say it. You might say, Andy, always start with your prospect's name. Andy, Thank you for sharing that. I have some ideas that might be of value. Would you like to hear them? Or, Sharon, I am confident I could help you. Would you like to hear what that might look like? Do you see how I'm not making any assumptions? I'm asking permission. I'm confident I want to move forward to tell them how to help them, but not before doing this. Moving on, we are going to do the more difficult, uncomfortable thing because we are serving powerfully here. We're going to welcome, explore, and address objections effectively. Real quick to define objections for you, it's the no in the prospect's mind. They think it's too much, they don't have the time, you're not the right person, blah, blah, blah. Any objections on their mind is something that is between you and a potential yes. You need to explore that, and you need to do it from a place of serving them. Often, when you do this, you surprise your prospect because very few take the time, take the interest to explore objections and address them in a way that has the highest interest of the prospect in mind. So what might this look like? You might say, so John, would you help me understand your real concerns? My goal is to help you make the best decision. Would you help me understand your real concerns here? Or you might say, Sharon, this is usually a time that I discuss questions or concerns with my prospective clients. Please feel free to share with me what's on your mind, right? You're eliciting potential objections. And last but not least, so Jonathan, would it be okay to explore that objection that you just shared a little further? Tell me more. And it is okay to gently call something an objection, right? But you need to explore further so that you can address the right thing. And again, not make any assumptions. Now, the fifth principle, and something that I recommend you do in any important meeting, is to mutually agree on the next steps before you close the meeting. Mutually come to agreements as to how things are going to proceed in that relationship. You know how sometimes you walk out of a meeting and you're like, what was I supposed to do? Was he going to contact me? When are we going to check back in? No, you want to mutually agree. You might say, so before we wrap up our call, Jennifer, what are the next steps that we're agreeing to here? Or you might say, I hear you need some time. Can we agree on a time to reconnect with your decision? Or, to respect both of our times here, Shauna, shall we agree on the next steps that work for both of us? Do you see how I am leading with this? And I want us to get to this clear agreement so that both of us are clear what happens next. So, in summary, I would like for you to remember this. You already know how to serve. This is not something you need to go out there and learn. We are helping you remember. You know how to do this. This is our natural state of being in the world and helping others. The serving mindset gives you a framework within which to do that and still run a profitable business. When you serve, you build relationships that scale. Remember the longevity that we talked about. You build a business that grows over time. If you're here to just have a quick sale or a quick venture, that's fine. But if you want to build a business for the future, then you want to come from a place of serving. Serving allows you to do that. And you want to feel good about every step of the process. It is possible to do that. I love every part of my business. And that is because I had to get intentional about what doesn't feel good and remove it and fill that gap with something that is authentic and that speaks to my values and still helps me achieve my business goals. So with that, I leave you with all the best wishes, and I hope that you become a champion of the serving mindset on your journey.